Notts County Talk, we are live with episode 92 of the Pavis Perspective. As always, we are powered by Better Bytes Computers. Link will be in the description to them. The code Pavis Perspective, if you go in and you can use that, and it will give you discounts off used computers or refurbished computers and anything you really need. Notts fan-owned company, fantastic company. We're powered by them on every single stream, so please do go and use them. George, you've missed two away days.
I have.
The first two. You missed a 5-1 loss and you missed a 0-0. You're buzzing.
No, do you know what? I'm actually not. I obviously the first game of the season was a bit gutting because of work. Missed out because I was working, unfortunately, on the first day of the season, which I very rarely work weekends. It's just how it's fell. Massive loss, wasn't it? And I missed a 0-0 on Tuesday. But I enjoy the away days. Do you know what I mean? The results aren't really there, but away days they're always good fun, aren't they? So I'm looking forward to attending one this weekend.
They are. Have you been to a game yet this season?
Yeah.
Have you? How many?
One.
But no, it'll be good, won't it? It'll be good on Saturday. We're both going to Doncaster. I'm sure a lot of people are. 2,200 going. There's still a fair few tickets. I think we got given 3,200 or something like that. But good, very, very good amount. Big thank you to everyone that's joined us this evening then. Let's see who we've got. We've got John. We've got Adam, who is a channel member. We've got Samuel, as you can see at the bottom, platinum member. Thank you so much. Mackie Horizon for being a platinum member. Absolutely amazing. If you DM us, Samuel, on any of our social medias, we'll arrange your platinum member sort of benefits. There's sort of a monthly collectible. So you can message us afterwards. We've got Phil, we've got Royston, Shane, Wayne, Derek, Margaret, John, Adam. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got loads to talk about this evening. We've got Dan, also known as 18 Dapper, Doncaster fan, got a Doncaster channel. He is going to be on very shortly with us. But yeah, as always, plenty to talk about. George,
Tom,
point gained or 2 points dropped then? Let's go straight into. Let's dissect the Morecambe game. I
think when you look on the game at real face value, I'd think a point's a good point. We're not going to get 100 points this season. And look, I'll hold my hands up a little bit as well. Not even a little bit. I'll just completely hold my hands up and say I think I got it wrong with the amount of goals we're going to concede this season.
Can you remind people that didn't hear?
What did I say?
Do you want me to genuinely tell people what you said?
Yeah, I'm not laughing, mate.
You said not to concede 30 goals in League Two.
Could still happen. What did you say? 64?
I said 58.
Yeah, that was it.
We
won't concede 58, but we definitely will probably concede more than 30.
It's almost guaranteed. We've already conceded what? How many have we already conceded? 7. We're not going to concede 23 for the rest of the season.
Could do.
No, I don't think so. Is that a channel mascot? Have you got the channel mascot near you?
Can you hear her?
I can hear the channel mascot.
Yeah, she is. She's at my feet. She's chewing up one of the toys. Is it too loud?
No, it's all right. As long as it brings us a win. There
we go.
I don't know. What was the last time she made an appearance? I think we lost, didn't we?
I can't remember. It's been a long time, hasn't it? What was the last time she was on?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Because there was that spite of about 14 games where we won. Every video she was on.
Yeah, I know. But then I had to get rid of her because we lost. I obviously went to the game. You couldn't make it. I think you landed, didn't you, at like 3:00? So there was no way you were making it to Morecambe.
Yeah.
From the airport. I stood there with Will and Jake, and if you watch the vlog, if you haven't already, go and check it out. I mean, it's not the most exciting vlog. You probably want to go and watch the Saturday game with Grimsby and Notts if you want an exciting vlog. But I stood there at 27 minutes into the game. I tapped Will on the shoulder and said, "This stinks a 0-0." And he said, "Absolutely no way." And I said, "Honestly, this is going to end 0-0." And then a couple of minutes later, have you seen the highlights?
Yeah.
McGoldrick's miss. Oh. And I turned again and I said, it's going to be 0-0, guarantee. And I went into the game and I went on a Morecambe podcast. You might have seen it on Saturday evening. It came out.
Yeah.
And I said I'd be happy with a 1-1. And as the game went on, I was thinking I'd be happy. We need to win this game. I don't think Morecambe had any quality at all. what they did have is they were well organised and they wanted everything. You know, eventually, as the season goes on, I don't know how they're going to fare, but at the minute, they were, you know, they looked okay. They're doing okay. A lot of people have tipped them for relegation, but I think with the quality we had on the pitch, David McGoldrick, Langstaff, Jody Jones, Dan Crowley, we should have won the game. And you know, if I'm being completely honest, I think they had the better chances to win it. We cleared it off the line last minute, and it's not a fantastic performance for me. We've got out there with a clean sheet, and we've got a point on the road.
The thing that concerns me from what I've seen, obviously, I watched the Grimsby game on iFollow. I wasn't able to watch Morecambe, unfortunately, which I could actually watch because it wasn't a Saturday game. But the only time we really looked like conceding like a really good chance is from our own error. And I mean, I suppose every goal to a degree is down to error, but it's from sort of direct error. Like we're basically passing it to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was a massive issue for me on Tuesday night. And it can't be overlooked now because it ended the game against Sutton. A bad back pass literally ended the game because we got a red card. They were already 1-up at the time. There was no coming back from it. Bad back pass against Grimsby literally led to their first goal, which luckily we came back.
Yeah.
And then again, you probably heard Luke Williams allude to it, but there was one point in the game where Cameron just needs to pass it back to Stone. It's very, very simple. He passes it out of play for a corner. And you looked at that Morecambe team, and I thought we're not very good from corners. We've conceded chances and goals from corners so far this season.
Yeah.
And we're giving away silly things like that. And look, it split a lot of opinion, Aidan Baldwin and his performance. I fully understand. And people were tagging him in things. I fully understand. Don't tag a player in things, especially at this level. You can tag, I don't know, pick any random Prem player. You can tag, I don't know, Richarlison.
Jack Grealish.
He's not going to see it. He's realistically not going to see it. But you tag a player in this division, even League One, Championship, they're probably going to see it. So let's not do that. But at the same time, I think people are allowed to express their opinions on social media. And I saw a lot of people saying you can't badmouth any of these players that got us promoted.
You can. You definitely can.
In my opinion, if you are the last defender, and this is just one instance, I've just talked about Carl Cameron, I'll be fair, and I'll talk about other players. If you're the last defender and you need to get the ball away from danger, why are you backheeling it to their striker? Why would you do something like that? It seems like nothing now, but if they go and score that and win the game, why would you do that? Luke Williams was not happy with it at all. And little mistakes they have to be cut out, and that's my issue. We've got Dan coming on in about 5 or 10 minutes. I spoke to him and I said, you're probably going to have a couple of chances gifted to you on Saturday, and that's just the way we play. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's 3 games now, and in every game, it cost us against Sutton. I know we're already losing. It could have cost against Grimsby, and it could have cost against Morecambe. You can't give away a chance out of that every game because in 3 games we've played, no side has made a defensive error.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right in terms of knots with their defensive errors. I think you should be able to call players out though. I think if you have an opinion on a player, you should be able to call them out. I agree with not tagging them and stuff like that, but if they're not putting a good performance, say it. If they can't face up to it, they're in the wrong game, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that comment that's just been put in there. They scare me as well. But I sort of look back to last season and we had a really, really good defensive record, but there were games, I'm thinking Solihull away, where defensively we looked poor. But then I think to the start of the season, we looked a little bit ropey. And then as the season went on, we improved massively. So I'm a bit divided, as in, I think we're going to get better.
Yeah.
These are errors that anyone with, basic knowledge of football can see. The players know they're making these errors. They're going to be aware of it. Highlighting them and addressing them is a form of improvement. So we have to improve throughout the season, don't we? Yeah. But then there's part of me that thinks, I think we're going to need to bring in another defender. But as it's sort of been alluded to already online, I think the type of defender that we'll need He's probably been sold. Is probably under contract. You know, the type of defender that we need. If we're gonna bring one in, it's gonna cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
It is difficult. It's a difficult one because at what point do we say enough's enough? We need to bring someone in now, or because we have got options. We've got Rawlinson, we've got Baldwin, we've got Brindley, Cameron, Tipton. That's 5 centre backs.
Yeah.
I'd like to think out of those 5, which should somehow be able to make it work. But I'm yet to be convinced. From what I've seen.
I like this comment here that says, "Have an opinion. It's about how you express it."
100%. Yeah,
fully agree with that, yeah, definitely. I'm not sure. Tipton is not. He wasn't even on the bench, was he, on Tuesday?
I don't think so.
So what's going on there? I mean, we started with Adam Chickson, who has been converted, who was a left back. He can converted to a wing back, and then he starts in the centre of defence.
Yeah.
Richard Brindley, who was a right back, converted to a right centre back, and then he's put in the centre of defence. And Tipton's not even on the bench. I think we've just had a comment here. Wayne says there were a few errors, yes, but collectively, overall, it was a more solid performance. 100%, definitely more solid performance. Yeah, it was more solid. We didn't concede. They didn't have mass amounts of chances. They had a few. They had one very good chance, but I think it's the fact that we haven't been punished yet, and we could be sat here and errors cost us points in every single game. I think that's what worries me, because right now, George, if I said to you, defensively, do you think we've been good enough this season? What would you say?
No,
I don't think so. And we've not played. I know they're not doing well at the minute. We've not played Stockport. We've not played Gillingham. We've not played Wrexham. We played Sutton, shipped 5. First game of the season. I don't really count much into that. You look around the leagues, there's stupid results on the first. Played Grimsby, 2 goals. They didn't have a massive amount of chances and they scored 2. The second was very, very easy. So whilst I'm not panicking, I think we need to get someone in. I really, really do. If we're starting fullbacks in the centre of defence, the centre of the back 3, there's a little issue there for me.
Yeah,
Fisher was
I do
in the
think
Grimsby game.
I think it was, yeah.
But he's not going to centre of a back 3. He's 5'8".
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really fit the mold of what we think we need, is it really? The thing with Chickson is, though, I think the reason that we're seeing him pushed back into the back 3, I don't necessarily think it's an issue of the back 3. I think it's an issue of fitting Jody Jones into the team.
You think it's fitting Jones into the team?
Yeah, because I think essentially Jones is probably from the Grimsby game. I was astonished with how well Jones played, and I know he's a good player, but I thought Jones was just incredible that game. Really, really good. Like, he lit the game alight. Really,
his crossing was a joke.
Oh mate, he was brilliant. So for me, you can't have someone like that on the bench. But then I think Williams really does like what Chickson brings, and I've seen someone just put in the chat that he's got the highest pass percentage in the league, is it? Or
doesn't surprise me at all.
So I can see why Williams would like him. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that he's going left centre back. Pushing Cameron over to right centre back, will it work? Having him in the centre back, will that work? I'm not sure. But having Chickson in there, you're sort of moving Cameron out from where he was playing for the majority of last season. Yeah, which could sort of unsettle his play a little bit. So it is difficult, but it's one of them things. It's got to be addressed, really, hasn't it? It's got to be addressed.
Yeah, I like I liked Richard Brindley in the centre of the back 3 against Grimsby. I think he could have closed down a bit quicker for their goal, but I did like him.
I thought he was a bit suspect in the first half.
Yeah, I think, just to be dropped in that centre of, I think he was.
Yeah. It's a difficult role to sort of put him into. And I saw Williams as a post-match, and he was sort of praising him. I thought he definitely had a better second half, but first half for me, I thought he was a little bit suspect. Like you say, for the goal, closing him down is a little bit slow. There's a few other occasions as well where I thought he was a little bit off where he probably should have been. But
going for
their second, by the way, what happened for that? Grimsby.
I don't know. Rollo played them on side, didn't he? But people are saying it was too easy to get past it. It really was, but it's a bit of, you don't get that every day, do you? Someone just chipping it straight over. I don't know. My final thoughts were on that defensive sort of display. We didn't concede and we didn't have a massive amount of chances, but they played I think they played with sort of 4 attacking players. Do you know the age of their attacking players?
Go on.
I think 2 were 19, 1 was 20, and 1 was 21. And they had the best chance to score. Well, McGoldrick had a great chance. Second half, they had the best chances to score. Like they had very young players in their squad, very young. It's like three of the squad were there last season. So, Wayne, this is a good point. So with Bash Bowman, what about the pass that put Nemain through for Dids' tap in? That was an unbelievable pass, and that's what frustrates me because these players have got it in them, but it's just like they're not bad defenders. It's just lapse in concentration. And I get when you're playing a Williams system, you have to be like incredibly switched on for the whole game. You have to, because you never know when a pass is coming your way. You never know when you've got to sort of switch the play. Baldwin's passing range for me is one of the best in the whole team.
Yeah.
But we as a collective, like I could be sat here and talking about a bad pass from Baldwin or Rollo or Cameron or even Chicksey. It's just yeah. We need.
But when he's making errors that lead to so many chances for the opposition, though, that's what you're going to highlight because that's sort of what a defender is, isn't it? The defending, and I get the long passing. That's all great. But if you do like 3 or 4 bad things and 1 good thing, it's a bad performance.
Yeah. Still for me though, 4 points from the first 3 games. After that first game, I'll take it. And
just notch it up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and we'll talk about
average that 2 point per game. Obviously, it's early days yet, but
yeah, it is. We'll talk Doncaster now. When we're finished with that, we'll sort of look at our lineup. We'll look at how we can get more out of our attackers because we didn't create a massive amount. We hit the bob. We didn't create a huge amount, but we'll have a look at Doncaster and then we'll come back to positives because let's be honest, we've stepped up a division and we have got a win under our belt and we've got a clean sheet away from home. So. There we go. Right, let's get Dan on, 18 Dapper, who is a Doncaster fan, has a YouTube channel, and let's get his thoughts on the game on Saturday. Hi, Dan, you all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, cheers for coming on. I really appreciate it. Your first 3 league games then. I had a message with you, didn't I, the other day, and I said I thought you were going to beat Mansfield. You nearly did. You were absolutely embarrassed by Newport, sorry to say it.
Yeah, we were.
And the first game of the season was
a 1-0 home defeat against Harrogate. So yeah, it's been a shaky start.
Yeah. How did you expect these first few games to
go? In all honesty, I think your first 2 games, Harrogate and Newport, I think a lot of people have tipped them to go down this season or be in and around that relegation mix. So I thought we'd have 6 points on the board by now. But then we're coming into a really tough run with Mansfield on Tuesday, yourselves on Saturday, and then MK Dons next Saturday. So I had us down for 6 points, maybe 8 to try and get a couple of home draws against Mansfield and yourselves. But yeah, the season's just not started how we expected. It was a good win against Hull, a good performance in the cup, and I think that showed what potential this squad's got. But we've just not replicated that in the league. It was better performance Tuesday night against Mansfield, but in all honesty, Mansfield looked a very, very good team. I think anybody who finishes above Mansfield will be in the playoffs or in the top 3, in my opinion. They spread the ball around really well, stretched the pitch, made it really wide, really difficult to play against. And I think when we got the first goal, absolute worldie. After that, we grew into the game and probably had the better of it. But I think balance of play overall, I think we probably robbed a point on that one. I think Mansfield fans will have gone away from the Eco Power disappointed to only take a point because it felt like we were getting battered in the second half. So performances are improving, but it's still early in the season.
I think you didn't predict Mansfield to go up? I think you did.
Via playoffs, yeah.
Via playoffs. I've just had a look at our pre-season predictions. Mine and George's, Dan. Let me know what you think. George has you finishing 11th. I got you 5th.
See, I think we're missing a creative midfielder, a tough midfielder as well who can break football down and attacks down. I think if we get those two key components, I'd probably bump us up into the playoffs. But at the minute, we're just lacking that something in midfield for me, which I think will be the difference, because League Two this season is just so competitive. I mean, I had you guys just breaking into the playoffs in 7th. I think I had Wrexham in 6th. But for me, Gillingham look really strong. I think Bradford, you can't rule them out. I know they've had not a great start. Stockport I had as champions. They've had a similar start to us, but they had a slow start last season and pushed on. So I think there's just so many decent teams in League Two this season that I think there'll probably be maybe 1 or 2 points between automatic promotion, or probably around us, where like 10th, 11th, something like that. I think there'll be minimum amount of points to separate us.
Yeah. There's a comment here, Donny.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, go on, George.
Yeah, someone's commented there saying, as a Donny fan, you've got so many players injured at the minute. How many have you got injured?
Off the top of my head, Close, Hurst, Taylor, Miller. I think there's maybe 2 more that are escaping me, but the 4 players that I've just mentioned there, Sterry's one. 5 players that I've mentioned there, they'll be fighting for first team spots. The good thing that I would say is, as recruitment this summer's been decent. There's been a big investment after maybe 2 or 3 years of kind of keeping the purse strings tight, and I think we've got a competitive squad. We've got a couple of players for each position. So whereas last season, when we had a number of injuries, you could tell we were having to bring youngsters in, and we were just getting battered every single game, struggling to get out of our defensive third, having maybe 1 shot at goal, not even on target in a game. It was poor to watch, and finished 18th, rightfully so. But I think we've added in key areas, and we've added a bit of quality in there as well. So yeah, the injuries are frustrating. I read today in our local paper that the club are launching an investigation, because I believe players go, regardless of what club you are in the EFL, I think there's like a central kind of medical centre where they go for operations and things. A lot of our injuries are reoccurring after operations, so players are breaking down after being recommended to have an operation on maybe like an Achilles tendon or something, and then that injury is reoccurring. So I think the club are investigating if they're actually getting the right treatment and the right kind of information and kind of the right guidance in injuries. So yeah, it's frustrating to see so many players injured and it be reoccurring injuries as well. But yeah, I think we've got enough to get by.
That was something we were kind of lucky with last season. Like we had a small squad, and we recruited, and we still have recruited for players that can play multiple positions. You probably heard us talking about wing backs playing at centre back and things like that. I really like that model we've got. Like we don't have 2 players that are left backs, 2 players that are like left midfielders. They have like somewhat. Jody Jones can play wing back behind the strikers in the middle. But we were lucky, weren't we, George? We didn't really get many injuries at all.
Yeah, I do think though it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for us this season, because obviously in the National League the window is pretty much open all season, isn't it? So you can sort of hold that smaller squad. So for me, it will be interesting to see if we do bring in maybe one or two more bodies, which we're sort of talking about we might need before the window's out. Because if we do get a couple of injuries, as much as like you were saying, Tom, that they can cover a couple of positions, you would worry for a few, I think, sort of covering for that new position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
The adjustment.
Yeah. Dan, what are your thoughts on playing Notts at the weekend then? Obviously, you thought you'd like to have at least 6 points at this point. I thought 4's okay for us. We had 2 away games. You're going to be our 3rd away game already. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the fixtures haven't really fallen kindly for you guys. Have the 3 away games in 4. It's a bit of a tough ask when you're just coming back into League Two. But if you'd have asked me this before Tuesday, I'd have been expecting a defeat. But the improvement in performance from Saturday to Tuesday, I'm hoping for at least a point. But I think you've got to be trying to win your home games. And I think you guys mentioned it, that your midfield and attack's pretty strong, but there's question marks over defensive ability. I think we've got a couple of wingers who could put you under pressure in Robertson and Satona. Very quick, good on the ball. And did you mention a centre back that was like 5'8" or something?
Well, someone we're looking at signing Darnell Fisher, I think it is, who used to be playing he's playing the Championship like maybe last year. He's trained with us, but we haven't done anything yet. But yeah, we have Richard Brinley. If he starts, he's something like what 5'10", George. So not massive. We're not a very big team.
So we've got Ironside and up top, and he's a big unit of a bloke. And I thought he played really well against Mansfield. He held the ball up. There just weren't enough players close to him for him to lay it off and kind of get in behind. So hopefully with Satona and Roberts maybe starting, they'll get a little bit closer to him and provide a bit of relief. But I think where we differ, I just think we're too lightweight in midfield, and majority of games are won if you win that midfield battle. And at the minute we're losing that midfield battle more often than not. So I think if you overload in there, you could come away with something on Saturday.
Yeah, our midfield is strong, to be fair. We've obviously got John Bostock in there.
Good player.
Last played, I think Donny were the last team he played for before not. We love him. Absolutely fantastic. Do you think he's someone that you said you're a bit light in midfield? Do you think that could be an issue, John Bostock?
Yeah, I think he's got the potential of kind of dictating the pace of play, hasn't he? He's really good on the ball. Didn't quite click at Donny, but we had a poor team around him. I think he's probably one of the sort of players who does need legs around him and kind of a lot of running and energy, which you guys have got. We were just poor everywhere, but you could see that he had that bit of quality about him. So yeah, I think if he's given time and space on the ball, he'll find those passes through the defence and could put us under some pressure.
Yeah, he's great player. Will he get a good reception, do you think, or?
Yeah, I think he will. He didn't leave under any sort of cloud. I think he ran out of contract and just decided not to renew. I think he said that he didn't want to drop down a league after dropping from League One to League Two. Felt that he had the ability to still play football in League One, and as football is, I just don't think he got the right opportunity. And then obviously Notts County came along, and you guys were building something in the National League, and I think that goes a long way in terms of kind of pulling decent players in. If they can see that you're building something that's going to be a successful season, I think they can compromise in that drop-in division to warrant having a successful season like you guys did.
Yeah, I'll ask you a score prediction in a sec before we let you go, but I think it'll be interesting because in the National League, would you say, George, 90% of teams just sat in against Notts?
Yeah.
And some couple of teams are part-time, and with 60, 70 minutes, even if you hadn't fully broken them down, they're really tired. And Morecambe sat in, and obviously they've come down from League One. They're not a side that's got that quality anymore. But we couldn't break them down because they're a better side than what we're used to. So I think if you come and try and play against Notts on Saturday, I think that suits us a bit better. Which I wouldn't expect you to sit in at home against a promoted side like us. If you were to sit in, I think we'd struggle to break you down. But if you do come and try and play, I think that will suit us and leave gaps.
Yeah, I think I'm expecting an open game because under Grant McCann, I don't think we'll ever really sit in for 90 minutes. I think there'll be periods of a game where he'll ask the players to kind of stay solid and stay in shape and maybe absorb a lot of pressure, which I think we did on Tuesday against Mansfield. I think we'll probably do something similar against you guys on Saturday. Maybe try and kind of just steady yourselves for the first 15-20 minutes and then try and unlock you guys on a counter or something. But yeah, I'm expecting an open game. I think under Grant McCann last time we were at Donny, you'd go down to the ground and you'd think if we're going to concede 2, we'll probably try and score 3. And I'm more than happy as a fan going to that. I can accept a defeat or a draw or whatever result it is, as long as that effort level and commitment's been there from the players, and that's what we're getting at the minute. And it's not what we've seen for the last 2 or 3 years. We've had people just turning up for a paycheck and clearly not caring about the club, caring about the connection with the fans, and the atmosphere and just the feeling around the club at the minute is totally different. So I think you guys will probably see it in the crowd. I mean, we've had arrogant fans singing that 1-0 in your cup final and stuff. I think fans from outside of clubs don't quite understand what we've seen over the last couple of years and the shift in mentality over the summer. Getting rid of Danny Schofield and bringing Grant McCann in, who's an experienced manager, knows what he's doing, had promotions under his belt, and the recruitment, it just, there's a feel good atmosphere around the club. I think if we'd have got beat against Mansfield Tuesday, that optimism and positivity might have waned a little bit. But yeah, it seems like we're together as a fan base, which is nice as a content creator, because I've had a few hammerings, especially over the last couple of years. It's like you create content and it's your fault that we're doing so poorly.
Yeah.
So it's nice to actually have a bit of positivity.
Yeah, I think just you going back to when you said you think it possibly quite open. Knots love an open game. They literally love it. We give our predictions at the end of the video, but what are you going with for the scoreline on Saturday?
Honestly, I've flipped between a defeat and a draw and a win. Normally, I'm kind of set on a result, but obviously getting beat 4-0 at Newport, I thought, here we go. It's going to be a defeat against Mansfield, defeat against County. But then Tuesday's performance has given me a little bit more belief. So in the 72 review that I do on a Sunday, I went with a 1-1. But I don't know. There's just something about it. We tend to turn up in games where there's a lot on the line, and I think there's a lot on the line on this one to try and get our season, I say, back on track with 3 games in. It's not derailed yet. We're not panicking, but I think Grant wanted 6 points from these 2 games. He's got 1 so far, so I think he'll be putting everything in to get the 3 points. So I think it's going to be open. It's going to be anybody's game, but I think I'm going to have to go 2-1, Donny. I'm going to have to trust my team.
Right, Dan, really appreciate you coming on. You got a nice little comment there for one of our viewers.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we have a vlog up after the game on Saturday.
I will, yeah. So if any of your viewers are at the game and they want to be part of the vlog, I'll be knocking around. If you spot me, just give me a shout and you can give a prediction on it and give your thoughts on Notts County. And then Donny fans will see that as well. So yeah, that'll be up hopefully around 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Fantastic. Go and have a look at that video. It's always good to see from an opposition fan's perspective as well. So, Dan, really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure we'll chat to you again when we see you later on in the season as well. Enjoy Saturday, but obviously not too much.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, guys. I appreciate it.
So, George, really great to have Dan on there. Good insight into Donny. I want to go back to, we've talked a lot about defence, talking about attack. How do we get the best out of our attack? Because for me, Langstaff, McGoldrick, Jody Jones, Dan Crowley, Aaron Neman, one of the best in the league. How and we created what? A couple of chances. How do we get the best out of the attack?
I think we just got, like I sort of alluded to it earlier, I think we've just got to sort of believe a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? It's what, we're 3 games in now into the league. Things aren't going to click straight away. I do believe that, you know, they will. We're doing the right things. Like watching Grimsby, the amount of chances that we had, we could have been brilliant. Above and beyond Grimsby. It's just that sort of final tapping, isn't it? Really, we just need to get better at finishing, I suppose. But I just think that's going to come with time. It's probably a little bit naive going into the season thinking that we're going to hit the ground running with the form that we had last season. Talking about myself, but we just haven't. But I think we will. I think our form's going to pick up soon. And I think once Langstaff's off the mark, that's it then, isn't it? There's a little bit of pressure building there. I think you're seeing a few people saying things online and stuff like that. And I'm sure it'll be niggling at him because he's a striker. He scored, 42 goals last season. He'll definitely be wanting that first goal. And it's going to come. And it's definitely going to come. It'd be great if it came at the weekend. But if not, it'll come the week after, I'm sure. That's just the way I see it. I don't think there's anything that meticulously needs to be addressed because we're making the chances. It's just that finish, isn't it? Yeah. Crossing's got a lot better, hasn't it, this season so far than it was last season.
Jody Jones, world class. But no, yeah, I think it will click. I honestly think if Doncaster want an open game, I think that will suit us down to the ground. I really do. If you want an open game and you leave space, I really, really do think that will suit us. And we'll go up to our score prediction soon. But, you know, the way Dan just spoke about that they were hammered by Mansfield towards the end of the game, I think there's an opportunity there for us. We've had a big fallout, haven't we? Big fallout on Twitter.
Massive.
You might have seen it.
Huge.
Massive fallout. Troy Deeney's just signed for Forest Green, and George messaged me on Twitter saying, would you take him at Notts? And we've had a big fallout. I would take Troy Deeney at Notts.
I wouldn't.
He's exactly the kind of player we don't have.
It's exactly the kind of person you don't want.
Take the person out of it.
No.
Take the player.
It's the player. Yeah, no, fair enough. He's probably got the ability still. To be honest, there's 2 things for me. what did he? I think he got 11 in 54 appearances for Birmingham, which is, it's decent, isn't it? He's championship level.
I had one quite bad injury as well.
Yeah, he's had quite a bad injury. He is a little bit injury prone, isn't he? Is it a knee? A bad knee?
Yeah, Jordan's
exactly. I was going to mention this is what I was about to mention. He went on the Filthy Fellas podcast, isn't he, or something like that? And the way he conducted himself was poor.
It was shocking.
It was shocking. Yeah, he embarrassed himself really. I just wouldn't want someone like that in the changing rooms. I think it can really. And to be honest, I'm surprised that Forest Green have sort of gone for someone like that because they're on a bit of a. I don't know. Like they've obviously just been relegated. It's a little bit fragile, isn't it, when you've just been relegated? I know they're probably. I don't know. I just think it's a big risk for Forest Green because it could really unsettle the dressing room and have the adverse effect. Don't get me wrong. Troy Deeney's got the quality, 100%. And if he strikes it off with the group, it could be amazing. It could be fantastic. But from what I've seen of him, and my sort of character assessment, I wouldn't have him at Notts.
No, for me, I think you pop him in a team that's doing well, and he's going to smash it. Like if he went to Wrexham or Gillingham or Bradford, I think he'd be unreal. But when it's not necessarily going that well, I mean, I don't know. But if you could get a player like that without the podcast antics and things, it'd be fantastic in this league. Like he always plays 100%, doesn't he? But yeah, just a little interesting one that happened about half an hour before the show. I'll just take this opportunity to say thank you everyone for joining us again on Thursday night. We will have a video out pretty much straight after full time. Before we go on to do our lineup as well, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. We set ourselves between us a personal target of 3,000 subscribers by Christmas. We're well on the way. Which we can't thank you enough. So if you're not already subscribed or you're a Doncaster fan, BH Plays, I see you're a Doncaster fan. If you want to, be one of the first to see the vlog on Saturday after the game, please do subscribe to the channel. It does help us out massively. And if we hit that 3,000, you never know. Could be a little giveaway coming or something like that. So lineup, George. This is it's really difficult for me defensively. Stone in goal.
Yeah.
And then Aaron the man at right back.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
Jody Jones at left wing back.
Yeah.
Back three. In from right to left.
It's hard. It's really difficult.
Cameron.
On the right?
Brinley. No. Brinley on the right. Cameron in the middle. Chickson on the left.
There's no height there at all, though, is there?
Who else do we have?
They've got a 6'5" striker, I think.
Who else do we have?
I go Cameron on the left, Rawlinson on the right, and Baldwin in the middle.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm going to give him... I want to see how he plays again. Because if he get him into form, you never know. And we need to see that form. I need to see him play again because I wasn't impressed on Tuesday night. So there we go. Midfield, Bostock and Palmer.
If Bostock's back, I think he had a bit of a niggle, didn't he?
Yeah, but he came on at the end of the game.
There we go.
And then what do we do? Maka and McGoldrick, but then who goes in that other spot? Crowley, Scott, Austin.
I'd probably say Crowley. I was really impressed with Crowley against Grimsby. I thought he was really, really good. Really impressive.
Yeah, I'll go Crowley as well. You know what? If not, I'll go Sam Austin. Just because
if not,
an open game,
I'd say Scott.
Would you?
Not just to say the opposite of what you just said. Just, I don't know. I'd like to see him start.
I did promise. Let's just find the tweet. I did promise Pete on Twitter that we'll just have a quick chat. Did you see that something like 500k has been put into the club?
Yeah.
If that is for a signing, we would never spend that on a player. I don't think a transfer fee on a player.
No,
I don't know what it could be for, but there's a lot of things it could be for. But it's all positive, isn't it? Money going into the club.
Yeah, they've released some shares, haven't they, for the club?
Yeah. I'm not going to pretend I know how all this works. But
Yeah, so it's just like essentially it releases capital, doesn't it?
my
So
guess,
not to have that in the account.
my guess for what that money is being used for is they're going to take 50p off all the pies for the rest of the season. That's what I would guess that money's been put in there for.
That's a lot of pies.
Yeah, but it's for the season though, isn't it?
That's a lot of pies. A million pies.
Do you know?
I wonder how many pies get sold a season. You've really opened the tin of worms there, Tom.
But I'm saying like 50,000 a game.
No way.
I'm saying 50,000
No, more
a
than
game.
that. More than that.
There's our lineup then. So we'll do our prediction. Should we tell them what's coming back next week on the channel? Go
on then.
So, if you remember from last season, we had a spell with about 6 weeks where I did a would I pie to you. It was a Notts County twist on would I lie to you. We asked questions like, who's a qualified referee? People had to guess. We asked questions like, who nearly cut the finger off at work? We asked plenty of questions and people had to guess. So it's coming back next week. So get yourself on the podcast next Thursday. There'll be a question. You have to guess if it's me or George we're talking about. Sammy says, what should I mess you on after? Sammy, if you do it on our Twitter or Instagram, we'll sort that out for you there. Right. Tom has 5 pies a match guarantee, Callum says.
Oh, he's done you.
Only 4. 4 and a Mars bar. Right, George. People are already getting their score predictions in.
Early doors.
2-1, Didsy and Macca. 2-1, Kedwin and Chickson. George, what are you going for?
I'm going to go 2-1 Notts. Macca to get off the mark. And Kyle Cameron.
I'm going 2-0. And this, for me, is where Macca scores.
Me too.
He scores. He does. We've got BH Plays saying 3-1 Donny. Oh, Donny fan there. We've got 2-0 Macca double. Wayne's just messaged us on one of our social medias saying, just back from Menorca in time for the podcast. Great show, gents. Thank you. Really appreciate that. We've got a 1-0. We've got a 2-1 Donny. Little faith in defence despite the clean sheet last game. We've got a 2-2 here. We've got a 2-1 Didsy Langstaff and a Cameron own goal. We've got a 1-1 Callum. 5-1 Notts. Chicks and hat-trick Langstaff brace.
Could happen.
Could happen, but we haven't got him starting in our lineup, have we? So
could still happen.
Could still happen. Could still happen. Go on, let's go a couple more. Let's do a couple more. We've got a 2-1 Macca double. Langstaff Crowley with the goals. Jordan's going in 1-0. 1-0 says Jordan. No goal scorer there though.
Jordan.
Knowing Jordan, he's probably gone for Stone, hasn't he? Got 2-1 Langstaff and Crowley. 1-0 do for me. And finally, Donny win 2-0. Need 2 defenders. We'll see. We will see. I'm feeling confident. I think the game will pan out nicely for Notts. I really, really do think it'll pan out nicely.
All right.
Yeah. Episode 92 then. 8 away from the 100 episodes of the Pavis Perspective. Thank you all for being on with us this evening. To our channel members, thank you so much. You can see Platinum member there at the bottom, Macca Horizon. We've got Callum, who's a gold member. Really, really do appreciate all of your support. Everybody that watches the video, thank you very much. We will have, and it's all black and white out. We're aiming within an hour of full time on Saturday. Let's hope for a victory. And, get that positivity going. Get a win on Saturday, George, and you're looking at 1 defeat in 4 and 7 points from an opening 12, and it's looking good again, isn't it? It is looking good.
It is. You're right.
It is. As I've said, please do subscribe to the channel, like and comment anything you remember. And if you are traveling to Doncaster, have safe travels. We're going to bring back those 3 points. And as always, thank you for watching.